Sometimes meat eaters are assholes and you need to know how to deal with it. So today I'm going to give you 5 useful phrases for dealing with meat eaters, whether they're being overtly mean or just passive aggressive. I've spent the last year and a half doing vegan outreach on Bourbon Street. Now, if you've never been there, it's basically a cesspool of ass hattery. People behave there in ways they would never behave anywhere else in the world, and they're usually drunk, which makes them even worse. So these phrases have saved me many times. The first phrase is the best one I've found for ending a conversation politely. You're going to want to be polite 90% of the time you're on the streets. I'm going to go over that other 10% later in the video, but for now, let's just assume that you want to be polite and the meat eater you're talking to has just said something that makes you think you should end the conversation. Now, this could be something like they don't care about animals, or they don't think animals have moral value, or they just have no interest in going vegan. So the best way to end the conversation is to use this phrase. Thank you for chatting. I appreciate your time, but I'm really trying to connect with people who do care about animals right now. Then you walk away. That's it. This works for a few reasons. First of all, you're demonstrating that your time is valuable, because it is. I mean, how many hours can you realistically dedicate to vegan outreach? Do you really want to use any of that time on someone who just said they don't care about animals? Of course not. That would be a waste of time. So get the hell out of there, unless you're filming it for a video, because we all love conversations like that. This phrase also subtly shows the person that they're in the wrong. There are plenty of people who do care about animals, and you would rather connect with them. At the end of the day, everyone wants to feel valued and connected. By leaving the conversation, you're communicating that not caring about animals is not a likable trait, and that may get the person to think about it a little bit more. The second phrase is for when someone is being subtly mean or passive aggressive. This happens all the time during vegan outreach, so you're going to want to have this phrase in your back pocket. And when I first came across this, I thought it sounded really weird and I didn't think I would ever use it. I actually first saw it on Reddit, but since then I've used it plenty of times and I'm always surprised by how well it works. So the second phrase is this: are you trying to hurt my feelings? So let's go over when to say this. I'll use an example from last week. I had my Debate a Vegan sign and this hunter came over and started talking to me, and he was being pretty nice. You know, we were having a decent conversation, but then his wife comes over and she starts saying, "Babe, let's go get a burger. I'm really craving some chicken wings." Things like that. She was trying to get under my skin. So I looked at her and I said, "Are you trying to hurt my feelings?" Now, this works for a few different reasons. First of all, you're implying that they're not hurting your feelings. They may be trying to, but it's not working. You may be vegan, but you're not a little bitch. So this puts the onus back on them. Now, they either have to admit that they were trying to be an asshole, or more likely they'll just shut up and walk away, which is exactly what happened with that hunter's wife. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh man, I guess I was trying to hurt your feelings." And then now you can dig into some of their negative feelings surrounding veganism, and you're actually at a place of honesty, which is where you really have to be to have any sort of conversation like this one. But like I said, usually this phrase is just going to end the conversation, and that leaves you to focus on someone who's more worthy of your time. All right, so the third phrase is for when someone who you think may be an actual threat to you comes up to have a conversation. Now, they may be really drunk or kind of mentally unstable, or if they're just really angry and yelling at you and you just don't think it would be a good idea to engage. Now, in the past, I have engaged with these types of people and I regretted it every single time. I have been punched, I have been nearly attacked, I've been cussed out, and I don't want you to have to go through any of that. So just stop the conversation before it goes anywhere by using this phrase. Thank you for stopping, but I'm only talking to blank right now. And that blank, fill it in with anything that this person does not fit into that category. So 9 times out of 10, this person is going to be a dude. So I usually say, "Thank you for stopping, but I'm only interviewing women right now." And this has worked really well in the past. Maybe I've used this about 20 times, and only one time has someone gotten aggressive after I've said that. He actually called me a pedophile and cussed at me and stormed off. So really not too bad. So I think it has a pretty good success rate. Now, if, for example, it is a woman, then just say, "Oh, I'm only interviewing teenagers right now," or really anything that this person can't fit into that category. Like I said, you just want to make sure that you're not even giving this person a chance to become more aggressive and getting them away from you. By saying "thank you for stopping," you're acknowledging that they're only stopping for a short amount of time and that they can keep on moving. You're ending the conversation before it can go anywhere to keep yourself safe. All right, this fourth phrase is for when someone is being a bit more outright aggressive. They may be interrupting you, not listening to you, mischaracterizing your point, or just any other overtly rude behavior. Earlier, when I said that it was okay to be less than polite about 10% of the time, this is the time I'm talking about. Now, you shouldn't be outright rude, but you do need to be a bit more assertive and really stand up for yourself. So the phrase is this: I appreciate you having this conversation, but if you continue to blank, I'm going to end it now. So what do you put in that blank? Whatever they're currently doing that is disrespectful, that you do not like. So typically for me, it's when someone's just constantly interrupting or not listening. I'll say, thank you for talking to me, but if you continue to interrupt me, we're going to end this conversation. Thank you for talking to me. If you continue to be an asshole, I'm going to stop this conversation. I've actually said that many times, and it's never created any problem. In fact, what this does is it makes the other person respect you more. Now, this is effective for a few reasons. First of all, it shows that you have boundaries, and that when people don't respect those boundaries, you won't tolerate it. This makes them respect you. Second of all, this phrase reinforces that the other person has chosen to talk to you. They are choosing to be part of this conversation. If they want it to continue, they have to play by your rules. Once again, setting this boundary makes them respect you. Third, this phrase demonstrates that you don't need anything from this other person. You don't need to change their mind. You don't need them to come around to your point of view. You're perfectly willing to walk away if they don't engage on your terms. It's important for us to remember as vegans that we don't have to get every meat eater to change their mind. We only need a certain percentage of the population, whether that's 12 or 25, it's still debated. But the point is, we don't have to convince everyone. So by reinforcing that, by saying, I'm going to end this conversation now, once again, you're giving yourself time to connect with someone who is more in line with your values, who you can have a greater effect on, and who's more likely to change. But typically, whenever I've used this line, the conversation dynamic has changed. The other person stops interrupting me, they stop being an asshole, they stop being rude, and then we can have a really productive conversation from there. All right, so this fifth phrase is not a phrase for other people, but it's a phrase to tell yourself. Now, I got this from an old Marcus Aurelius quote. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. Now, an easier version of this quote is, some people suck and that's okay. Now, when Marcus was talking about it, he was just saying it to remind himself that as the Roman emperor, he's going to have to deal with all types of people. And as such, a certain percentage of that group of people, a certain percentage of them are going to be, ungrateful, meddling, terrible people. So when I say some people suck and that's okay, it's because if you think about all the people in the world, think about what percentage of those people suck, and then multiply that by, at least 5. Some people are really cool and really awesome, but then as soon as the topic of veganism comes up, it's like they get defensive and shut down, and just their assholeness just spews out all over you, and you get covered in it, and it doesn't have to affect you, is the point I'm trying to make. Just try not to let it affect you. So if you talk to 10 meat eaters in a day, at least 2 are going to be assholes. So after that bad interaction happens, just say to yourself, some people suck and that's okay. Some people suck and that's okay. And keep moving forward, because chances are the next person you meet won't be as bad as the last person that you just dealt with. And always remember that it is a privilege to be fighting for the animals. They need us, and us dealing with someone who sucks on the street is nothing compared to what they go through just by being bred into this system of torture and abuse. So thank you so much for watching today. Let me know what phrases you're excited to try out, or if there's anything you think I missed that has helped you in conversations with meat eaters. Drop it below. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy, Andy, Deepak, and Rebecca.